Welcome to another edition of What the Papers Are Saying, where we bring you the big stories for the week and dissect them as reported by the big media outlets. And then we look at the various angles they reported on those stories and matters arising from those stories.
The news cycle can sometimes be rather daunting. With an abundance of media houses publishing daily, where does one even begin? What the papers are saying is a one-stop shopping experience to know and understand the most important news items that made the headlines.
Then you are saying so of your opponent that he's organized boys to come and meet you, and he was telling police people.
Yeah.
What we saw the thing happen. And if what we saw is what it is, then it's a very shameful act from somebody who's supposed to be a member of parliament. And everybody has condemned except himself. All the weapon he had was just a recorder. Yeah. And then you expose him to this kind of ridiculous. I mean, how do you do that?
Catch the next episode of What the Papers Are Saying with your host, Vivian Kai Loco, and her guests each Thursday at 9 p.m. only on Channel 1 TV.
There are situations in life that teaches us to be better in our next chapter. Our guest, Empress Gifty, shares some takeaways from hers.
I've learned how to forgive. I have learned how to respect a man as a husband. I need to make my home so lovely for my husband and my kids to feel comfortable.
Hey, Mr. You're enjoying it. I'm jealous.
And just when you need the help, God sends it. But of course, through humans.
I went to Kwame and said, Kwame, I have something for you. He said, oh, Empress, what about something so for you? He said, Kwame, I need to see you. I said, okay, let's go to the studio. So he just sat on the keyboard. Oh, Kwame started playing something. I said, oh, I did all kakuma.
Now, to spice up the evening, we have some engaging activities for you to try. You can call it a bonding time.
Really? They will show at it like
Smile.
So, make a date with Frema Idunyami and Nana Tufo on the Upside Down Show this Sunday at 7 p.m. prompt, only on Channel 1 TV. You do not want to miss out on the fun and lessons we will share with you on the show. Now remember, Upside Down is proudly sponsored by Sky Mineral Water.
29 days to election 2024. Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to another exciting edition of the Citiuation Room, coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. On Citiuation, we talk politics, and with some few weeks to the general election, we'll tell you what the political parties and their presidential candidates have been up to. They've been campaigning in their stronghold. We'll tell you why they are there with some few days to the election. We'll also tell you what the Electoral Commission has been up to. This week, the Commission made a major announcement. It says it is ready for the December election. We'll tell you what this particular announcement is and what other political parties are reacting to. This week as well, the Ghana Freedom Party met the EC's deadline of fielding a presidential candidate after the passing of Madam Equiadonko, the leader and founder of the party. Who is this person that the party has decided to nominate to contest on the ticket of the party? And this week, something major happened in the United States of America. Donald Trump is back to the White House. We'll tell you the dynamics of what happened in that particular election and do a comparison of how the outcome of the election in the US will be like here in Ghana. My name is Sami Riafi. When I come back, I'll tell you who I'm doing the show with.
Are you ready? It's on Friday, the 8th of November, 2024. Venue is Cedar Mountain Chapel, Cedar City, number 1 Lagos Avenue. Gate opens at exactly 5 p.m. The Sunday Light edition of I Testify will feature inspiring performances by our indefatigable Cedar Choral. Minister Prince Danzel, Minister Nicholas Ofuria Connor, the host choir, Cedar Mass Choir, the refreshing harmonious chorale, and the energy booster group, Team Eternity Ghana. Prepare for an unforgettable night of worship, praise, and powerful testimonies that send the light to the world. Don't miss out on this special event. I Testify 2024. We are sending the light. Come with family and friends.
You're welcome back. You're still watching the Citiuation Room, coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. Before we went on the break, I told you the issues we are discussing in the United States of America. Something major has happened. Donald Trump, the former president of that country, is coming back to the White House. There are many who've drawn a number of comparisons as to what happened in the U.S. may also happen here in Ghana. There are people who have also said that it may not be so as far as the dynamics in the US and Ghana are different. My name is Sami Wiafe, and as always, I'm doing a show with my friend, brother, and colleague Fred Tete Jabano. Fred, how are you?
Sami, I'm fine.
God is still keeping us.
We are keeping going.
This week has been an interesting one, if you ask me personally, from Monday till today. And I'm sure the interest will continue till tomorrow and over the weekend.
Yes, I mean, the parliamentarians have also made the week more interesting.
You know, when I was thinking today was going to be a peaceful sitting.
Yes, not being able to...
It turned out to be a different thing.
Come to an understanding as to who is majority, who is minority, people not appearing in parliament, the Speaker of Parliament also not trying to bring the House together. I mean, it's a lot of chaos in the House of the legislature, and it's sad. It's sad that looking at the kinds of things we have to do as a country, looking at the number of government business which needs to be go through, and looking at how our members of parliament are also reacting to numbers, and where someone will have to sit, where the other would also have to sit. It's, I mean, shameful. It's disgraceful. I think that our parliamentarians would need to do better. They need to come together and sit to talk, to engage. This issue is a political issue. Yeah. We've dealt with the legal issue with the Supreme Court. Now we need to deal with the political issue. And with the political issue, the two parties would need to sit. The Speaker of Parliament would need to bring all the two parties on the table so that they have a conversation, resolve this issue. Then, I mean, we move on to the business.
I agree with you 150% as far as this particular issue happening in Parliament. Because we are told that if care is not taken, there's supposed to be a budget for the next 3 months before any government takes over. And if this is not done, salaries of public sector workers cannot and they will not be paid if this chaos continues.
We need to do better as a people. We need to do better as citizens, and the politicians and the members of parliament who we have elected and voted for also need to do better. Yeah. They are being paid to represent us, and this is not how we want to be represented in the House of Parliament. They need to do better. I mean, I'm sure that there will be a recall of Parliament very soon. I hope that by the time that recall takes place, they would have been able to sit to trash out their issues. So that, I mean, national issues will now come to the table for us to discuss and work on. Definitely.
Fred, the Electoral Commission, a major stakeholder in this year's election, made a major announcement yesterday. It says that it is ready for the election. The voter register is ready. and has given to all the political parties and the independent presidential candidates who are contesting this year's election. But there are some other parties who are not really happy about this announcement by the Electoral Commission. What's their beef?
Yes, as you said, the EC released the final voters register. This final voters register has been an issue for discussion for a long time. An issue for
to audit or not to audit.
To audit or not to audit, whether statistics are right. Some parties raising concerns with numbers and everything. And they'll say, eba. So,
can we call it ejabo?
Yeah, so I mean, finally, the EC has made available the final voters register for the 2024 December 7th elections. Yeah. Unfortunately, what we don't have is the breakdown of the register.
Because the EC did not provide those breakdowns, right?
The voter statistics. You'll recall that as of the last time they made known some figures, we were told that the numbers were ranging somewhere around 18, hovering around 18 million and over, about 18.7 million and over. We have not been able to know the new figures. So like we have it now, we are told as of 3 weeks ago, so this is not the final one, this was the provisional one. As of 3 weeks ago, we are told that the total number of valid registered voters were 18,772,251. With this final register, we are told some work have been done, and we are not sure
so the numbers may change.
Whether the numbers will remain the same,
decrease,
whether it decreased or remains the same or goes up. We are waiting for the EC. As you said, yesterday when the register was delivered to the or they are not bound by law to give them those statistics. But for fairness and openness, they are going to do that. The EC promised to do that by close of day today. So we are all hoping to see the final number of registered voters.
Does it really matter to get this breakdown, number of voters in a particular region, the gender, first-time voters, special? Does it really matter?
Yes, I mean, it does matter. It does matter. It does matter in the sense that, you see, in our work as journalists, in our projections, on the day of elections, we will be able to know turnout. You work out turnout through the total number of registered voters and all those things. I mean, it's very important that we all have it. It's not just the political parties. I mean, we who are interested in this elections, all stakeholders, from observers to everything, it's very important that we have it. So we know the figures we are working with. You know, we are going to talk about the U.S. election. The U.S. election, we are able to tell the breakdown of number of females, the number of males, the number of blacks, the number of whites. You see, this breakdown will give you all these ideas about the number of people and the kind and caliber of people who are partaking in this particular election. So yes, it's very important that the EC releases it, not just to the political party, but to the public. I mean, you standing here, or our viewers watching would also want to know how many people are going to partake in these elections. How many people would go and vote? Out of that number that we have been given, how many people actually turned out to go and vote? So all these things are quite important when it comes to figures for registered voters. So for me, I'm glad that the EC says that they will do it, but we hope that they do it early enough for all of us to appreciate the figures and also work around the figures.
Still dealing with the Electoral Commission, the Ghana Freedom Party, they were given some deadline to get a new flag bearer
and presidential
to replace Madame Equia Donko, who had passed. They met that deadline?
Yes, they met the deadline, but it didn't also come with its own controversy. It came with its own controversy. You know, the EC gave a period of 10 days for them to present a candidate or the election would have gone on without them. That's a constitutional provision anyway. This time round, they presented a candidate. The General Secretary of the party wrote to the Electoral Commission and presented their presidential candidate to go through the process.
Yeah.
This presidential candidate is the running mate of the late Ekwe Adonko, whom people usually know as Roman Father, Apia Kubi, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's the name.
Yes, people usually know as Roman Father. So he will be representing the GFP this year. So you have a media man who now is a presidential candidate.
In fact, we have two, the Alan Shamati running mate.
Yes, no, but he's a running mate.
He's a running, okay.
So now we have a media man who now is contesting to be president of Ghana.
And at a meeting of the Electoral Commission and political parties yesterday, he was present.
Yes, he was present
to collect it on behalf of the political party.
Exactly. So I mean, as I said, this didn't go without any controversies. You had the some members of the party, led by the national organizer of the GFP, also writing to the Electoral Commission to say that, look, we're not going to contest this election. We have decided that we are withdrawing. Yes, that's what happened. We have decided that for the respect we have for Ekwe Adonko, we are going to withdraw from this election and look at subsequent elections. At that time, the General Secretary had already also sent a name and had presented a candidate
to the Electoral Commission.
Yes, as we speak now, the EC has not made any statement as to whether they are rejecting the candidate or not. So,
but for Apia Kubi to be present at yesterday's meeting,
yes,
in the announcement of the register, it then means that the EC has accepted his nomination.
Yes,
then
exactly as I said, we haven't heard anything from the EC, so we assume that he's been accepted and he's going to be on the ballot. So what we were talking about last week, the issues where we're projecting could possibly take place, would not happen. Now we have a candidate, so
the parties and their candidates still maintain their positions on
so
the ballot.
everything is in
because
place
the fear
now.
was that there were going to be some shifts in the numbers of the various candidates,
in the positioning. As we speak now, that hasn't taken place. We have the positioning as they have now, from 1 to 13. Everybody remains the same.
Interesting. You're still watching The Situation. We're coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. Fred and I are discussing recent developments, political developments within the country. The Electoral Commission yesterday announced that it was ready for the December election by releasing to the political parties and the independent presidential candidates the final certified voter register that will be used for the general election. But the NDC and other parties are raising concerns. For them, the EC should give them a breakdown of the register, the number of males, the number of females, first-time voters, proxy voters, special voters, and all those things. For them, the Electoral Commission did not provide those details in the final register that the Commission gave to the political party. And so, since last night, and I think today, they are still at the Electoral Commission demanding for those particular details. The Electoral Commission has promised that indeed it was going to provide those details for the NDC and other political parties who are making similar demands in respect of this particular matter. Fred, the presidential candidates of the two major political parties, the MPP and the NDC, John Mahama and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, are in their strongholds, pushing for support, pushing for their members to come out on December 7th to vote. Is it the idea that if your stronghold comes up or shows up in numbers, there's a possibility that you may want to win the election?
So the first thing you do, outside getting people to come and vote for you, people who do not belong to you to come and vote for you, is to consolidate your stronghold, your base. And you see, with about exactly a month, as we speak, today is 7th November, so we have exactly 1 month.
Like joke, election they come.
Election they come. 7th November, 7th December, exactly 1 month for the elections to take place. These presidential candidates have been crisscrossing the country, going to different places, different regions. Interestingly enough, this week, both leading presidential candidates, John Mahama and Dr. Bawumia, have decided that, look, they are going into their stronghold, their base. We know the Volta region and Oti region to be the base or the stronghold of the NDC. We know the Ashanti region and the Eastern region to be the base of the New Patriotic Party. This week, John Mahama was in the Oti region, and what was he talking about? He was telling his people that it's time to vote, you need to get out to go and vote. He also assured them that victory was coming, or victory is coming. and even gave figures ranging around 300,000 difference in Accra, and he would win by, and all other sorts of figures, assuring the people of the Oti region, who he believes are very loyal to the party and him, that they need to turn out and go and vote. In the Ashanti region, Dr. Bawumia is also visiting all the constituencies within the region. And his message, one of his messages to the people is that time is up. Victory is near. He says when he goes across the country, he feels it, he knows it. The people are telling him.
When he was in Mokola, Okanshi area there, and he had an opportunity to address the traders, that was one of the things he said.
He says he
knows
feels
the MPP is going to win the election.
He says the people he's been engaging and talking to have assured him of voting for him. But what he needs is his base.
Yeah.
What he needs is his base. They need to turn out.
And the Ashanti region is bigger when it comes to the numbers.
And Ashanti region is the second biggest in terms of the regions when it comes to numbers. And you see, the MPP says that they are hoping to gain 85% of the vote, 85% of the vote.
Because from 2012, I did some work in the Ashanti region. So from 2012 and 2020, the party has been doing 70. The highest has been 76%.
Yeah.
That was 2016.
Yes.
They're hoping that they will go beyond, because in 2012 they did 71%. In 2016 it jumped to 76%. In 2020 it was 72%. So they feel that in the Ashanti region, if they get above 80, and the target being the 85%, they may get everybody to vote for them. And when that happens, it keeps the numbers up. So if you add the other regions and the smaller numbers to it, it's likely your party may want to win the election. But the NDC is also targeting Ashanti region. Remember that as well.
Yes, they are.
So they are also projecting that they may want to get like 35%
of the votes
in the Ashanti region. If that one comes up, they may want to add the Volta region, the Oti region, and the other stronghold of theirs to push up their numbers and go with it.
I think that why the MPP is pushing for their people to turn out is that, you see, when you look at our election cycle, and you look at the 8-year cycle, you realize that from 2000 to 2008, in 2008, there was a lot of apathy in the Ashanti region.
Yeah, the party carried out a research which says that over 500,000 supporters of the MPP did not vote in the Ashanti region in 2008.
Exactly.
And I'm sure that is what the party wants to avoid in this year's election.
Exactly. You look at NDC 2008 to 2016. In 2016, you realize that the voter turnout in the Volta region was also low.
Yeah.
So you see, there's this cycle of after every 8 years, the party in power usually you lose your base a bit. And I think that both parties have realized, and they are learning from this, and they want to get their base to turn out. Because you see, if you are going to a war and your troops do not turn out for you, who is going to turn out?
You're in trouble.
Who's going to turn up for you? That is the issue. So we need to, the parties are putting in a lot of effort to get their base to turn out. We would go and take some of the messages of the two leading political candidates, presidential candidates. First, we take the address of John Dramani Mahama in the Oti region, where he was speaking to party members, encouraging them to turn out to vote for the NDC for victory on December 7th.
I'm positive again that we can win all the votes in the Oti region. We want to increase the votes that we get from the Volta region and the Oti region. And I'm sure that if we're able to do that, also increase our votes in Greater Accra. Greater Accra, we won it the last time with only 76,000 votes. We need to win it by about 300,000 votes. And we need to widen the gap in Volta region. MPP got about 100,000 votes in Volta region the last time. We got about 800,000. We need to decrease the votes that they get in Volta region. That's a pipe dream.
A dream?
It's a pipe dream. I don't think MPP can get 300,000 in Volta region. Mark my words. So we'll look at the results when they come. Yeah, they can't get 300,000 in Volta region. We're going to win it. I mean, Volta region knows that. I mean, it's NDC that stands for them. Everything, regional hospital, University of Health and Allied Sciences, you know, virtually everything, electrification, water, Pando water system. I mean, everything is provided in NDC time. And we have very good plans for the Volta region. We want to, Volta and OT, we want to do one of the special agric processing zones in Volta and OT, because the good thing, I mean, God works in mysterious ways. There's no mining in Volta and OT, and so you can see how lush the vegetation is. I mean, they will have some of the most beautiful vegetation in the whole country, and that's a blessing from God. And so tourism will flourish there, and they produce so much cassava, so much maize, so much yam, they produce ginger, they produce pepper, they produce everything. And so if we're able to put in the processing capacity, they produce rice. And some of the places, they produce the rice, they just sell the paddy. If we put in rice processing mills, we can brand it OT aromatic rice or Afife perfumed rice or something. And then we can market it so that we can cut down the amount of food we import. And so we're going to pay a special attention to those two regions.
Sami, so that was the presidential candidate of the NDC, very confident about winning the Volta region and OT region, and winning big time. And he also made mention of winning Greater Accra, and also saying that the MPP cannot get the 300,000 they are hoping for within the Volta region.
Remember the last election, NDC won the Greater Accra region. John Mahama won the Greater Accra region, but he couldn't win the main election. And so if he still maintains that number in the Greater Accra region and hoping to add more from the OT and the Volta region and add other regions, he says he may win the election if you get the numbers that he wants. But then, the MPP also says that Greater Accra will be tough because they are also doing a lot of work within the Greater. I had the opportunity to engage the regional chairman of the MPP, and they are hoping to even increase their numbers in the Greater Accra region as far as the parliamentary seats are concerned. So Greater Accra has become a battleground, for any of these political parties. And the last time you made us understand that the notion that if you win the Greater Accra election is no more the reality.
Exactly.
But the figures you gave us in the last election. So I'm sure the other parties may, as you mentioned, the concentration will be in their strongholds now.
Exactly.
Just to get the numbers in there to add up to the other regions.
Yes. We'll move on from the Volta region and OT region, which is the stronghold of the NDC, and go to the stronghold of the MPP, the Ashanti region, where the presidential candidate of the MPP, Dr. Bawumia, has been campaigning throughout this week. He's been telling the people that they should turn out and vote for him. Let's take a look at what he's been saying to the people.
Mamponte, any Kwabri is we need the highest voters for MPP in the whole of Ghana. Kwabri East, money number one. Minjindi say obi betimi agye title no efiri mo ho. Minjindi money number one. Enti nyame adom ena me ba me kire mo say mo ye number one. Me ba abaye jimpuntu ejuma amamo astrotefsa enwie ebewie marketer enwie ebewie kwaya enwie ebewie ni nyina me kire mo say mo ye number one. Enya sa me ba be kire mo because mona mo bu mo abe say baby aya chichire aboano ohwa na ebesane no enti me ba abe mamo mpuntu ejuma ebebre ewa ha momfa tumi no emame momfa stiano emame momfa stiano emame momfa stiano emame na mchikano na yanko mutua na muatu ama Dr. Bawumia na muatu ama onyina Bawumia niye onyina niye yada number one nyamishira munyina.
MPP presidential candidate Dr. Muhammadu Bawumia, Mofa Stiano, my friend. He's asking people in the Ashanti region. Stiano, Akufado, if you're the man. You're still watching the situation. We're coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. We'll go for a quick break. When we come back, we'll go to the United States of America. Something happened there on Tuesday. Donald Trump is back to the White House.
Your health is in your hands. But at some point, it passes on to us. At Mintuba Hospital and Coloproctology Center, we believe that quality healthcare isn't a privilege, it's a right. Equipped with cutting-edge technology, we are fully prepared to effectively deal with all colorectal and proctological conditions. Our team of highly skilled doctors, surgeons, and nurses are renowned for their expertise in minimally invasive and painless laser, ligature, and longoproctological surgery. We are committed to providing a wide range of services to meet the diverse needs of our patients. Mintuba Hospital, your health is our priority. Visit Mintuba Hospital today or call us at 0244 581 541 or 0271 054 204. Mintuba Hospital, in to serve a peculiar health need.
Excellent. Be that business owner that stands out and is very productive.
You're so confident. How do you do it?
It starts with Built. Where does your confidence come from? Paperwork made simple. Built takes all the hassle away. Yep, don't be like her. Built is your all-in-one simplified finance platform. It's your home for invoices, payments, your payroll, and so much more.
Oh, wow.
Grow your business today. Sign up now at Built.Africa. Download the Built app now.
You're welcome back. You're still watching The Citiuation Room, coming to you live from our studio here in Accra. On Tuesday, the people of the United States of America voted to elect a new president. Former President Donald Trump is going back to the White House. From the numbers and the declarations, he's the new president, or will I say another new, how would I describe him? Former president and new president of the United States of America. And he's heading back to the White House to continue with the policies and programs he began before his tenure ended after the 2020 election. There are a number of people who've drawn some similarities in respect of what happened in the US and in Ghana here. And these are the similarities. The main issue that was discussed or on the minds of a lot of Americans was the economy. Here in Ghana, a number of research also showed that Ghanaians are not happy or comfortable with recent happenings as far as the economy is concerned. And look at the personalities who were running in that election are similar here in Ghana. Donald Trump, a former president, running against a sitting vice president. Here in Ghana, we have a similar situation. Former President John Dramani Mahama running on the ticket of the NDC and Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia on the ticket of the NPP and the sitting vice president. In the US, the sitting vice president who was running on the ticket of the Democrats was Vice President Harris. She lost in that election. And a lot of people are running commentary in respect of what happened in the US, also repeating itself here in Ghana. Fred Jabana was doing some work in respect of this and listening to people and the opinions they are sharing in respect of these happenings in the US. Fred, are people right when they draw these comparisons, between the happenings in the US as far as the outcome is concerned and what may also happen here in Ghana?
They are not wrong.
They are not wrong, but the dynamics may be different.
Yes, the dynamics may be different, but they are not wrong. When you look at the history from '92, and how the voting patterns have been, in the US you have the Democrats, you have the Republicans. In Ghana, like you say, there's the NPP and the NDC, and it looks like every election cycle has gone in a similar manner for both countries. But you see, the way we vote and the way they also vote, they are two different ways. They have the electoral college system where you need to hit 270 electoral college votes to be able to win the presidency. At the same time, they also allow for the popular vote. We would say we deal with the popular votes.
The popular vote,
The popular vote, you need to get 50% plus one of the popular votes. So in terms of the systems, these are the difference. In terms of how both parties are connected, you would realize that the Democratic Party in the US, here in Ghana, we say, are ideologically lean towards where the NDC is, and the Republicans lean a little bit towards where the MPP is. Interestingly, there's a symbol. The Republicans have an elephant. Which the MPP also does. Which the MPP has proudly claimed here in Ghana to being the elephant. So, yes, there are a lot of similarities. And as I said, the similarities have even been in the pattern and the choice of parties and how it's been the same for the NDC, I mean for Ghana. So let's go and take a look at how they voted. Let's start from 92. In 92, you had Rawlings coming in. That's when Ghana had just moved into a Republican, I mean the fourth, we were going into our fourth republic. We had elections. The United States have the elections. They had a sitting president in George Bush, Senior, who was running. We had a military dictator, 10 civilian who had run the country for a number of years, also running. At the end of elections, these were the results in 92. You had Jerry John Rawlings of the NDC beating his opponent of the MPP.
That was Professor Edubwine.
Professor
Edubwine, yeah.
We would see Rawlings as an incumbent at the time, because he was a military ruler. He was the one head of state at the time.
At that time.
Then you go to the US, still in 92, George Bush, Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton will be described as then opposition. He beat the incumbent to become president. So in 92, you had Jerry John Rawlings, Bill Clinton.
Two political parties that believe in the same ideology.
Yes, I mean they lean towards the same ideology. In 96, this same thing repeated itself. Jerry John Rawlings, Bill Clinton. They all won the election in 96. After winning the 92 election, they all won the election in 96. Then let's come to 2000. Another similarity. In 2000, we had two vice presidents who were running to become president. They were chosen by their parties to lead them into the election. All the two parties, as we said, the Democratic Party had Vice President Al Gore, and the National Democratic Congress here in Ghana had Professor John Evans Atta Mills being on their tickets, being the presidential candidates. Al Gore went against the Republican George Bush. Professor Mills went against MPP's J. Kufuor. And in the 2000 election, this is what happened. The incumbent parties lost. The Democratic Party lost. The NDC lost. John Ejekun Kufuor becomes president. George W. Bush becomes president. This same thing repeated itself in 2004. So in 2004, the incumbents go again to be re-elected, and they both win the elections here. So a Republican Party wins, the MPP wins. 2000, 2004. What happens in 2008? In 2008, the NDC brings John Evans Atta Mills. Then the Democrats bring some whiskey, Barack Obama, in the 2008 elections. At the end of elections, the Democratic Party wins, led by Barack Obama. The NDC wins, led by John Evans Atta Mills.
Same political parties,
same party.
Ideologies. More like, not same political parties. I mean, two different political parties, but believe or lean towards, the same ideologies of.
Exactly. So NDC the Democrats win. So let's go back. 92 Democrats, NDC. 96 Democrats, NDC. 2000 Republican MPP. 2004 Republican MPP. In 2008, Democrats, NDC. In 2012, there's a ticket change in Ghana. The representative or the presidential candidate changes. John Dramani Mahama of the NDC. Barack Obama still remains with the Democratic Party as incumbent. We could also describe Mahama as incumbent then because he had been sworn
to take over from late President Mills.
The late President Mills. So he was also an incumbent. They go into the 2012 election and they both win. Democratic Party, Democratic Party. What happens in 2016?
The tables turn.
The tables turn. In 2016, we have in Ghana
the elephants.
Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo coming again. You have Donald Trump appearing for the first time on the ballot.
On the Republican ticket.
On the Republican's ticket. There again, there's a change. There's a shift in who maintains power. The NDC loses, the Democrats lose. MPP, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo wins. Republican Donald Trump wins. So you see, the sequence
the similarities,
continues. But what happens in 2020? In 2020, there was a bit of a change in the dynamics and the similarities. In 2020, another incumbent goes in the US. Ghana's incumbent wins, the US incumbent loses. A new president for the US, a Democrat, Joe Biden. So from 92 to 2020, for the first time in 2020, now you have two different leanings. The Republican Party, the MPP, and the Democrats, which hasn't happened since 92. So this has been the history and why people are comparing. But it doesn't even end in 2020.
Okay.
In 2024, a lot of similarities.
Again.
In 2024, what happens? You have a vice president running on the ticket of the Democrats. You have a former president running on the ticket of the Republicans. Don't forget that the Democrats are now in power. The MPP is also in power. What happened on November 5th? The vice president loses to a former president. So now the Republicans are back
to the White
House. In Ghana, look at our similarities. There's an incumbent vice president and there's a former president.
A similar situation in the US.
A similar situation in the US. An incumbent vice president, a former president. Battling it out here in Ghana. In our case, what is going to happen? We don't know.
We don't know. December 7th can only tell.
December 7th.
Okay, friends, so I now understand why people are making these comparisons.
Exactly.
Because looking at the history that you've just exposed us to and what is going to happen in December, and looking at the two main candidates and what happened also in the US, it now makes sense why the Ghanaian populace who follow keenly the politics of Ghana and the politics of US are making these comparisons as far as the election is concerned. So for them, in the US, it was a sitting vice president. In Ghana, a sitting vice president. In the US, a former president. In Ghana, also a former president. So they may be right, they may be right when they make these comparisons and believe that what has happened in the US may repeat itself here in Ghana.
And it's interesting how our politicians are playing it out. The NDC and the MPP, how they are playing it out.
I saw a statement from the
says
MPP.
That, yes, they believe that anytime the Republicans win, they win.
It means MPP wins.
Apart from the 2020 elections. the NDC is also playing out that a former president has won against an incumbent vice president. So then what is going to happen? A former president in Ghana is likely to win, or is going to win against the incumbent. So you see, the politicians are playing it out nicely to benefit themselves. But you see, it doesn't really end there. After the US elections, the exit polls showed us something, what voters were looking out for. And you ask yourself, are the dynamics in the US the same as the dynamics in Ghana? Are the voters looking out for similar things? Because you see, it's not just about a political party winning and another political party winning, but really, it comes down to the voter. What is the voter looking out for? Let's go and see what the voters in the US were looking out for. When you look at the exit polls and the outcomes of the exit polls, it tells you that a lot of, or majority of the voters in the United States, what caught their attention, or what they were looking out for, or the issues they were looking out for to decide who leads them, the first, the highest, was the state of democracy. The state of a democracy, because don't forget that in 2020,
what happened at the capital?
What happened at the capital, and how Donald Trump had been positioned to look when it comes to issues of democracy, issues of respecting the law, is what we're looking out for. And that's what most of the people said we're going to look out for, the state of the democracy. Before I even go on, in 2020, whilst we're here in Ghana fighting in Parliament over who becomes Speaker and all the issues which transpired, that same time,
that same night,
in the United States, they were also there doing their own things. So you see, Ghana and the US, I mean, Sammy, you should stay in Ghana, don't go again. If the president is going to stay, say that they are twins, so you are here. So, I mean, the state of the democracy is one we're looking at. The next issue, which most voters looked out for, was the economy. With 32%. Followed by the abortion rights.
Issue,
and the laws dealing with abortion, and which party was supporting these abortion laws and which party was not. In the United States, this was their about third biggest issue. Then immigration. Don't forget Trump's issues about immigration and his plans for immigrants.
I was reading
and the Democrats and what they also wanted to do for immigrants.
I saw a video of their new vice presidents,
yes,
or incoming vice president.
J.D.
Vance making a statement that if you're an illegal migrant in the US, for the next 6 months, prepare to go back to your country. And we know what happened in 2020 when Trump was president, an issue of immigration and the likes. The more reason why non-migrants in the US are worried about the second coming of Donald Trump.
So it was an issue. Then the next one was foreign policy. People were not so sure about the foreign policy position of Trump. Don't forget that his first term in office,
it was butu.
He decided not to be contributing to NATO. His relationship with Russia, his relationship with China, and all those. So those were
North Korea.
If you want
to add that one too.
I mean, he went to North Korea. Those were the issues on the mind of the American voters. For us, we have not voted yet, but the CDD through the Afrobarometer also went to speak to people, and we've had other polls talking to people, and this is what they also came out with. Let's see whether there are any similarities. It starts with unemployment. We are told 41% of people
here in Ghana,
the biggest issue they're going to look out for is the issue of unemployment. And don't forget, we could place unemployment under the issue of the economy. Followed by infrastructure and roads, 38%, health, 33%, education, 28%, management of the economy, 25%, increasing cost of living, 21%. So when you look at the first 6 things on the minds of Ghanaians ahead of the 2024 elections on December 7th. At least 3 of them you can categorize into the issue of economy.
Yeah. And in the US too, when you look at the exit poll that you showed us not so long ago, the economy also featured prominently.
Exactly. So even here, there are still some similarities. Even though we find ourselves in 2 different jurisdictions, we have still some similarities as to what voters are looking out for. Let's go on and see what the United States, the voters in the United States, were looking out for in the qualities of the candidates they want to vote for. And see whether we also have the same thing. This is what they said. 82% of the people say they are going to look for a president or a candidate
who has good judgment.
Good judgment. That's 20% of the people say they are going to look for a candidate with good judgment. 30% of them say they are going to look for a candidate with the ability to lead. Out of that 30%, 66% of them are Republicans, 33% Democrats. Then, as I said, 20% say they are going to look for good judgment. Out of a good judgment, 82% are Democrats, 16% are Republicans. It tells you something.
Yeah.
A lot of Democrats don't believe that
Donald Trump has a good sense of judgment. And they may be right. Comparing his first term in office and some decisions that he took, the Democrats feel that indeed, if you hand the country back to him, there'll be trouble one way or the other.
A candidate who cares about the people, 18% said we're going to look out for that. Out of that, 73% were Democrats, 25% were Republicans. Can bring the needed change. 24% Democrats, 28%, 74% Republicans. You see, just look at this, can bring the needed change and the ability to lead. Economic issues.
Yeah.
What are Ghanaian voters looking for ahead of the elections? And how are they ranked? 73% of people who were interviewed by the Afrobarometer says that they are going to look for a candidate who is honest. Then the candidate's character is there.
70%.
70%. The candidate's character. Before they even think about campaign promises. So in Ghana,
honesty and character is most important.
Is most important to us.
And that is understandable. We live in a society, the society where these 2 things count a lot. Honesty, they won't think about the person's integrity. Will the person be able to do the things that he is promising? I'm right to say he, because almost all the candidates are male, so I'm right to say he. Almost all the candidates are promising.
All the candidates now.
Yeah. So, and then look at the character too of the person. The character of a person has always been an important in Ghana's politics. It's been a major issue. Oh, some things I can't say on air, So I understand. I get it.
So in Ghana here, people care more about honesty and character before they come to even look at campaign promises. Just 32% of the people are going to look out for campaign promises.
Yeah.
Then candidates' running mates would influence their choice.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the US, you do not have the running mate of the candidate. Money, gifts, and favor. 15%.
Only 50%
would be looking out for that. Candidates' ethnicity. It's also there, 12%. Then candidates' religious faith.
I'm just excited that only 11%
of the people would be thinking around religious and the faith of the candidates.
And you look at 62%, it doesn't matter at all.
Yes, it doesn't matter at all.
Because it got to a time, the politics was getting to the extent of religion had to come in. And people were calling about the kind of religion the person believes in or wherever it is.
We're trying to play the religious card.
Yes, the religious card and the ethnic card as well.
Yes.
But from what Afrobarometer, I'm excited that 64% says that ethnicity does not matter. 62% also feel that religion doesn't really matter. They just want the honesty and character of the individual.
Yes.
So someone who can deliver.
So you see, here in Ghana, what we look out for in terms of the character or the issues seem to differ from the United States. Definitely. You understand? Let's go back, let's continue and see how the people of Ghana intend to vote. Don't forget that in the US, the Republican Party have won the Senate
already.
And we are told they're on their way of also winning the House. Yeah. In Ghana, what do we have? A near hung parliament.
With chaos.
With chaos.
Which repeated itself today.
So, what are the voters going to look out for in the election? How are they going to vote? We have 58% of the people saying they are going to vote for a presidential and parliamentary candidate from the same political party. We have learnt our lesson. Then, we have 15% say they are going to vote for presidential and parliamentary candidates from different political parties. Independent and presidential candidates, 6%.
Other combinations
1%. The most important is the first two. That majority say they are going to vote, they are going to stop the skirt and blouse and vote for candidates from the same party. Let's quickly end with this one about apathy. Voter apathy. And how the voter apathy is. The ages 18 to 25, 19% of them say they are going to abstain.
19%?
19%. And this 18 to 25 would make up the majority of the new
first-time voters.
Yes. 26 to 35, another 19 say they are not going to vote.
Another important block.
Important block. 36 to 45, 13%. So you realize that as and when the ages go up, more people want to vote. The younger people do not want to vote. The reason is why?
Fred, and this is worrying because I've had the opportunity to engage some young people and people are losing confidence in the politics and the politicians.
And the system.
And the system itself. They believe that after queuing all these hours to go and vote and they don't see any meaningful impact, they feel that why would I waste my time, wake up as early as 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. just to go and queue? And they'll tell me, Sammy, I'm going to look for a job for somebody's father who will not care about me. So I get it when a number of people say, they are staying out of this year's election.
A lot of people are disappointed with governance in this country.
A
lot of young people cannot connect as to what they are benefiting from the government.
The people I voted for.
Exactly.
The people they vote for.
They've lost trust in our governance system. Look at what is happening in Parliament.
A typical example.
It's sad. I think that, it's time for us to sit up, to encourage these young people that we do not have to lose hope in this democracy.
I'm afraid it's not going to change. If you ask me, it's not going to change because this same set of leaders we have were back some years back, and their followers who also aspire to be leaders will learn from that same pattern. And I'm not sure it's ever going to change.
But we need to change our ways.
Yes, I agree 100%. But the leaders who are supposed to change their ways are not changing their ways. How much less the followers who do whatever the leaders will ask them to do.
No, but we the people would also have to rise up and tell them that enough is enough.
It will take a century for that to happen, and may God be our guide. It's been another exciting edition of The Situation Room that came to you live from our studio here in Accra. My name is Sami Wiafi, and I did it with
Fred Tetejabana.
So we come your way again next week. Be good.